Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Fanatics. Today we're going to talk about shifting markets. Holy crap, what are we going to do when the market shifts? I think we're already shifting right now. I think a good not a good percentage, but a fair percentage of real estate agents may not be in this business in 2 years. I think we're going to see a decline in total number of registrations with National Association of Realtors because I think we're going to see the agent pool go down. How do you not become one of those casualties? Stay tuned for more. However, before we begin, click the subscription button below, hit the notification bell, put some comments in, like it if you like the video. Also, if you ever have a need, you want to talk about anything, you have questions about anything, you want to talk about EXP, you want to talk about any other brokers that I'm familiar with, have at it. Hit me up on the Calendly link posted down below. And you can schedule time on my calendar and be happy to sit down and talk with you. Shifting market. Here's some interesting stats. This is now June of 2022. We have not seen a significant down cycle in the market since that 2008 to 2010 range. A vast majority of real estate agents are new since that 2008 to 2010. They don't know what a shifting market looks like. They don't know what to do in their shifting market. They're usually rose-colored glasses like, it's just a little blip, it's gonna be okay. All of a sudden, they're out of money. So here's kind of some tips and tactics that we're gonna talk about today around that. Been doing a lot of training on this, a lot of learning on it, because I really think we're in a shifting market. I'm one of those guys that's never been through a super significant downturn. I got my license, I think in 2013, so I'm like right at 9 or 10 years, maybe it's 2012. Anyways, I wanna know as much as I can know. I sit with some pretty big brains in the real estate agent community through different masterminds, and a lot of it's just because I love to learn. I love to get to know what's coming. Nobody knows, it's not a crystal ball, don't get me wrong. However, I want to be prepared so when something happens, we're already kind of watching it and in front of it, not only for our clients, but also for our business model. So here's the first thing in your shift in tactics. Know your freaking numbers. What's your market doing? Are you seeing expireds go up? Are you seeing houses sit on the market longer? And I'm not talking nationally, I'm talking your local market. Don't listen to the news. They're usually behind in their data. They also only want to talk about the wow way up here and the whoa way down here, right? They don't like to talk about the messy middle. They like to talk about the opposite ends of the spectrum in a conversation because that draws more attention from the people who watch the news. So anyways, I want to know the numbers. I want to know what's going on. I'm watching markets too, right? I'm watching, are we going into stagflation? Are we going into a recession, right? What do those things look like? Now, hard to predict a recession because that's usually 6 months or 2 quarters of a negative GDP. So usually by the time you get that 6 months of negative quarter, you're like, oh, yep, we've been in a recession for 6 months, right? Go figure. So I'm watching interest rates right now go up, which is fine. They're going back to normal states, but it's still, or normal status, but it's still hurting some buyers that were used to trying to get qualified at 3 and 4%. I'm watching inflation right now. It's like 8 point some percent. That's the highest it's been in quite a while. I can't control all of those things, don't get me wrong, but I'm watching it. And so when everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be perfect, it's gonna be great, the weather's fine outside, just stick with it, do what you do. I'm not freaking out. I'm not over here like shutting my business down and going down to where we're spending $1 a week, right? But I'm cognizant, I'm watching, I'm cautiously optimistic. However, I also know that in a shifting market is the time to take market share. It's the time when right now we sit here as real estate agents and we complain about how competitive this market is because there's so many real estate agents. Well, the back end of that is let's go through a down market. I think you're gonna see some of your discount brokerages disappear or at least be hurt a little bit based on houses sitting longer. They don't need the discounted services. They need to pay kind of a non-discount kind of brokerage fee, if you will, to get their houses sold, right? You're gonna see agents that the business just happened to land in their lap in the past doesn't just magically land in their lap anymore. They gotta really work for it and earn it. There's a lot of things going on where I think people kind of give up and they're like, I'm out of money. This is too painful. This is a lot more work than I'm used to. I'm used to the last 10 years, whatever it is, it's an opportunity. And that's the way I look at it. It's a painful because you got to fight, claw, and scratch your way through it, but it's an opportunity. So anyways, got on my soapbox there for a minute. So tactics for me would be know your market, know your numbers, know what's going on. The other thing is make sure that you're always looking at your ROI. Are you buying internet leads? Are you getting an ROI on those? Are you seeing those dip up and down? What are you seeing here? Hit your database like a mofo. Your database is going to tell you going to give you the business, I should say, of exactly what you need. They know you, they like you. Shame on you if you've been in the business for a period of time and your database is garbage or you haven't been communicating with it, because guess what? That database will probably take 6 to 12 months to get people off and running and going again and getting them back into the mix. So anyways, your database is going to be massively important to you. So the next part is really going to be focusing in on what you're trying to accomplish, like minimize your expenses. Like, what's my goals? Did I look at my goals? Am I seeing that we're falling behind on those goals? Is that normal? Is that because the market's shifting a little bit? I really want to look at where my expenses are. If I'm starting to fall behind on my goals, is that just a blip or is that a trend? If that's a trend, I need to start looking at expense management. I might need to start cutting some expenses. I would always suggest having a plan. And even if you don't cut all those right away, I would definitely have those lined out off to the side. So if you need to get to that point where you need to cut expenses, you already have them identified. So those are just a few of the tips and techniques. Some other things that I would look for on a shifting market is opportunities to work with investors. Investors are waiting for an opportunity for the market to kind of decline a little bit. Right now, we're not really seeing house prices dip. We may be seeing a few less transactions. We may see people having a little bit less financial capabilities to do things, which is hurting the buyer pool a little bit. However, with all of that, I'm going to shift my mindset to investors, because investors typically have the money and they have the ability to go out and buy properties. Those are just a few of the tips. I could go on and on this episode. Maybe I'll do a part 2 on shift tactics, because we can keep going through a lot of things on here. But you better warm up your database. You better love on your database. You better have a plan on your database. You better be ready to do as much in your database as you can, because that's where your business is going to be a little easier to get to. The last thing I would say about your database is you're going to have to double and triple down on your leads during a shifting market, the time spent on those leads, because you're going to have to do more work to get the same amount of business. That's just the way it's going to work. You're going to have to talk to more people to get the same amount of business. So for me, it becomes all about how many people am I talking to? Who is the most motivated? Soon in a shifting market, the gee whiz buyers and the gee whiz sellers start to disappear. It's really going to be the motivated buyers and sellers. It's going to be the ones that have a job relocation. It's going to be the ones that unfortunately go through a divorce or a death or something like that, right? Those are different levels of motivations where people are just going to need to move on, and they're going to be willing to reach out and make that move happen. Anyways, quick video on shift tactics. I'll probably do a shift 2 on this at some point in time, because there's a lot more things that we can cover down on. But I would really know your market. I would really hit your database. I would really watch expense management, and I would really focus in on, are you loving on people? Are you talking to as many people? Are you doubling and tripling down on your lead generation time with people? Anyways, hope you found that valuable. Go ahead and put some comments down below. Hit the like button if you got any value out of this. Hit the link down below if you want to set up a time or a meeting to talk with me, and happy to do that anytime. Just schedule it on my calendar. Willing to do that. And anyways, have a great day.